I'm Tamika D. Mallory.
And it's your boy Mysonne, the General.
We are your host of TMI.
Tamika and Mysonne's information, truth, motivation, and inspiration.
New name, new energy, but
same old us.
What's up, Mysonne London? How you doing?
I am excellent today. I'm feeling good. You know what I'm saying? Got my LOX. Shout out to the locks.
Good.
I'm feeling good. Money, power, respect is the key to life. Money, power, respect is the key. Yo, shout out to the locks. I love the locks, man. My brothers. I've been watching Jada and Joey's podcast, and it's hilarious. Just watching them, they got dope chemistry. Both of them. I would love
to hear more about Jada's story. I know you know it.
Yeah, you got it.
I would like to hear it myself.
Yeah, he's been around, man.
He's been around.
He got a good story.
He's been around.
Story. Excellent story.
Yeah. He's such a dope guy.
Yep.
He's a dope guy.
It's my bro right there.
And it's not all of these artists are the same. Not all are created equal.
Oh, not at all. Not at all.
So congratulations to the Gathering for Justice for 20 years of gathering people to do the work that Harry Belafonte set out to do. So many, 20 years ago, he gathered many people. At this gathering, everybody was there. Ruby D, and who else was there? Reverend Jackson, Reverend Sharpton. I mean, too many people for me to name, but yes. Everybody you could think of was at a gathering that Harry Belafonte called together, and there were a lot of young people there, and the agenda is to find the agenda. I heard him say it, and I knew that was true and good, but I'm using it now more in this moment than ever because I realized that no one person has the turnkey for what needs to be done to fight against authoritarianism and fascism and what we're experiencing right now. And so I think Mr. B was right to say the agenda is to find the agenda, for sure.
Oh, definitely. Every time I hear that, in his voice, which is always so militant, right? It sounds like he's singing every time he talks, but it is so profound. Just like when you think about the agenda is to find the agenda. And in this moment, it feels like that's what the agenda is. There's so many things. They're trying to keep us so, occupied and distracted with so many different things going on at one time. I think each one of us has an agenda. We just got to find out what that is. And then we got to utilize and connect it all together, because me and you are probably going to do something different than their other, leaders in different fields are going to do something different, but each one of those things will contribute to the liberation of our people. So I think our agenda for each of us is to find our agenda.
Yeah, absolutely. And so Carmen Perez, our sister, has been leading the gathering for 20 years, and they have now celebrated their anniversary, still doing the work. She has turned over the keys to our other sister, Dewana Thompson, who was there. She was a young person at the time that this gathering took place, and now she is a great strategist, an organizer extraordinaire, and she will be leading for an interim basis at least the work of the gathering while Carmen gets an opportunity to go off and do other things. Listen, running an organization for 20 years is hard work. It's no joke.
It's a lot.
And she's done a lot. She's built an incredible foundation. And built the pillars and
built up young leadership too.
And built up young leadership, and now Dewana will take it the rest of the way. So congratulations, Carmen. Congratulations, Dewana, and just congratulations to the entire Gathering for Justice crew that keeps it going every day. Julian Hoffenberg, the name goes on. And later in the show, we're going to be hearing from one of our brothers who comes out of the gathering, who's going to talk about his story, some of the things that's happened in his life today. So it's a good gathering day. It's almost like,
the gathering
good
day.
Gathering day. A good gathering day. That's so funny. So let me just get to the thought of the day, because our interview is going to be pretty long. I'm sure we've got a lot. We really want to give Rameen the opportunity to tell his story.
That's
and
right.
So I want to quickly get us through my thought of the day. So I was on social media, and one of the trends now is that you post like the words. You remember it started with people putting up a sign, and instead of you talking, because folks don't listen, but then they don't read either. But anyway, they don't listen. So you sitting there, but you put up a sign, and the sign has things on it, free Congo, whatever it is, right? Mm-hmm. Some people use it as like cards, and they put up a whole story through showing you and letting you read versus explaining it verbally. And so that trend continues, and I saw a post where a woman is sitting there not saying anything, but in front of her, she has a little caption. And it says, in case you haven't noticed, because content is being suppressed on social media, the gangs have put a hit out on ICE agents. And, they're putting like a bounty on ICE agents' heads. And
in Chicago.
In Chicago. And there's a bunch of people in the comment section like, yeah, we got to stop them. Well, oh, wow, this and that, whatever commentary. And I'm in a chat, in a thread with several very, very grassroots level activists and organizers who've been out there dealing with the issue of ICE being in the communities, and particularly in the Black community, because we know the incident that happened where the ICE agents, we believe, they claimed they went into a building. Somebody said they went into the wrong building, but the children were zip tied, people were traumatized. And these folks have been actively engaged in doing this work, training people and de-escalation, so on. So I put it in the chat and said, this seems odd to me that anyone, especially a Black woman, would post something of this nature, that there is a bounty on ICE agents' heads. We already know that Donald Trump is threatening to enact the Insurrection Act. He's also talking about, we've heard some rumblings about martial law. So we already know that these people are looking for a way to escalate violence against us. Mm-hmm. And it seems odd to me that this woman would even post something like that, whether it's true or not, which, by the way, I don't think that I don't see how that's an effective strategy, because there are not enough members of the gang to fight ICE agents and militarized police on the ground in Chicago. I don't see any way that works. Mm-hmm. That's just me. But there may be some people out there that think that this is going to stop ICE from terrorizing the community. Why somebody would be promoting that or talking about it, I don't see how it works. I personally don't. And so my thought of the day is around how we got to be real smart about what we are doing. This is a different time. There was a time when you could go on social media and say something that people know is wrong, and people just kind of poo-poo you away like whatever. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, everything that's up there, because this woman, I ain't never seen her before, but there's like 4,000 comments. Not likes. 4,000 comments on this post. And a lot of people are in there with their profiles saying things like, can I join the gang? Well, can I donate? Like, folks go in there and click on your profile and find out who you are. And the next thing you know, the police are at your door arresting you. The FBI is arresting you because it's on a social media post. People are organizing something like this. So I dropped it in the chat and I asked the question of these folks, this is odd, what do y'all think? And they said it's an absolute lie. We have not heard this on the ground. The gangs are not even organized in this way. They're not organized like that anymore. Mm-hmm. It's not that kind of environment. And this is not helpful because we're trying to get them to move on. We want ICE to get the hell up out of here and to move on. And instead, this is an escalation that could cause them to see something that she might not even know what she's talking about, right?
But it's intentional. I think it's
But maybe she thinks she's saying the right thing. Maybe, I don't know.
But what I think is we have a lot of provocateurs, mm-hmm. right? Especially on Instagram. on the internet, period. They trolling, they posting things, just trying to get some level of engagement. And then they actually are being fed this information, right? There are a lot of our own people who are intentionally feeding misinformation on the internet to get levels of engagement. And then what happens is the algorithm feeds that. The algorithm right now will feed anything negative that is targeting our communities. Anybody, if you're a voice, I've watched people who had 1,000 followers. They start talking negative about black people, start talking negative about our communities, start talking positive about this administration. They went up to 80 and 90,000 followers. I've watched it happen. They are suppressing. My page is definitely suppressed. They've been shadow banning my Instagram page for I don't even know how long. It's people been trying to follow me. I met people and they be like, "Oh, I want to follow you on Instagram," and then I say, "Well, my name is Mysonne. If you type it up, it should come in." They be like, "Well, which one?" And then I see other Mysonnes that got 2 and 3 followers. I got over 500,000 followers, but my name doesn't even pop up. If you type my name in fully, it still only pops up. And when you type it in fully, then it finally pops up. Like if you miss one letter, like you have to type in every letter of my name for it to pop up. And none of the other pages have anywhere near as many followers. Some of them got 100, maybe 200 followers, but they don't even show you in the algorithm. So they're intentionally silencing us, and they're amplifying voices that are degrading our communities, that are detrimental to us. So I know what you mean, but those things are going to continue to happen.
Yeah, but that's very
because
dangerous.
That's their agenda, and that's why you have this administration that has bro, they pretty much own the media at this point. The oligarchs own the media. They monopolizing the media, and they own it, and they're making sure that the messages that they want get traction. It's the same like we said years ago before this election that the biggest threat to us was misinformation.
Absolutely.
And it's intentional misinformation. So of course they'll run with that, and then they'll post, they're eating the dogs and eating the cats. Like this shit is not new. This is an intentional thing that they've been doing. So if we don't understand the strategy, that's why shout out to Isaac Hayes. I definitely agree that we need our own platforms
Absolutely.
to be able to spread. I think in this moment there has to be an intentional shift until we're putting our content on platforms that we actually control. We have to do it, because I'm really watching how mad people are saying, "Yo, my content is being censored. Is being, the engagement." I watch different people videos that I know usually have levels of engagement that aren't getting the level of engagement anymore, because they're not just, they're not kowtowing to this administration. They're not lying. So the algorithm has completely shifted, and they're intentionally trying to silence us.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I feel like for this sister, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she believes that she's informing people about something that's happening, right? I don't know what her intention is, but I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt that she thinks she's informing people. I'm trying to understand how this is helpful. I'm just trying to understand her mind. And again, back to, giving what I was thinking about, my thought of the day is like, maybe you think you're being helpful, but instead you're putting people's lives in danger because we just posting anything on social media. It's not no rhyme or reason. There's no strategy to it. You out here basically opening up the floodgates of death on our people by saying that there's a bounty on the heads of ICE agents. I don't see how it makes sense. So I just think people need to be careful what we're sharing. Be careful how you're commenting on things and putting your name associated with things like that the FBI could literally pick you up. It's pretty dangerous, and folks just need to be really mindful because it's not a game.
I hear you, but I think these people know. And because it doesn't, like you said, it doesn't make no sense for you to say something, especially when you don't have no direct proof of that.
Right.
Why would you utilize your platform to say some shit that is pretty much a federal crime? Like, for somebody to put the money on the head of federal agents, that's a federal crime.
That's right.
So you making yourself an accomplice.
And now
they want to know where you got this information from.
Oh man, I didn't even think about that.
I think they know what they're talking about.
You think they know why they're saying that?
I think they're not. I don't believe anyone is, not cognizant of the reaction that they're going to get, and they're trying to either get following, they're trying to, get some type of traction, or they're actually working with the people that need this to happen.
No, maybe. I think it's pretty stupid. But anywho, we should get into our interview today. We're going to skip our TMI because I think, as I said, this conversation that we need to have with our brother is going to take a little while to kind of delve in and help people understand why who he is matters to how we handle his life, right? Like, he should never be in a situation where he cares about the community and then can't get the help from the community that he's given.
So our brother Rameen Aminzadeh is coming up. So as usual, you know how we like to bring our friends on the TMI podcast. We have another one of our friends, basically our brothers, and we mean that seriously. We don't take that lightly. Right. His name is Rameen Aminzadeh.
That's right.
And he is the founder of Beats, Rhymes, and Relief, where they harness the power of hip-hop to educate, elevate, and empower young people. How you doing today, my brother?
I'm doing great, brother. How are you?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, Rameen.
Hi, Tamika. How are you?
It's good to see you.
It's
Glad you're up
definitely good to
here
see you,
finally.
I made it. Not everybody gets up here, right?
No, not everybody gets to make it up here. Our brother Rameen, we met him doing this work and doing social justice work, doing civil rights work. We all were part of an organization with the Gathering for Justice, which morphed into the Justice League. And Rameen was very much one of the leaders. He has so much footage of us. We were just talking about this yesterday. He has footage of us for like over the last decade. Yeah. And I can't wait to see some of the things that we have that we forgot about. Yeah. Like, I know the stuff that we done forgot about. But today we here with Rameen, and so this is kind of like serious. It's going to be a serious show as well. Because we have our brother.
But
here.
You want to laugh for some reason?
No, I don't want to laugh. I'm laughing because I'm happy. You understand what I'm saying? Because probably about a year ago, right?
Yeah, December 13th makes
December 13th makes a year ago. I wasn't sure that my brother would be here with us, so I got a call in the middle of the night. We actually live in the same building. And I got a call from another friend of ours that lived in the same building and was like, Rameen's not doing too good. And I was literally just coming home, and I'm like, what's going on? And I walked into his apartment, and he just was, like, incapacitated. I was scared for his life. And, we called the ambulance, and by the grace of God, Rameen is still here with us.
That's right.
Rameen is now a double amputee. He lost both of his legs. He was in ICU for weeks. It was real touch and go. We walked in the hospital. We prayed with him, prayed over him with his family.
Yes.
It was a real serious situation. So just to be able to see Rameen here with us and see him in these kind of spirits is why I'm laughing. But it was definitely a serious situation. And that's just Rameen. And Rameen finds the silver lining in everything.
That's right.
Even when he was in that hospital bed, his energy was. He was laughing and smiling with us, even though I know he was in pain. He just never let it break him. And just seeing him here today is just a testament that God is real.
Mm-hmm. Yes, very real. God is great all day, every day.
Before we talk about, what my son mentioned, of course, the main reason why we invited you to be on the show is to talk about life after becoming a double amputee and just the whole story of how that happened. But want to go backwards so people will understand. And my son talked about the Gathering for Justice, but most people in the Gatherings division, which is Justice League NYC, so it's like the activism arm of Harry Belafonte's organization that he started and put our sister Carmen Perez as the shepherd of, the leader of, president and CEO for 20 years. She led the efforts of the Gathering, and most of the people in Justice League have different organizations, or they're coming from something. They're already an artist, as my son was when he got to Justice League. Certainly I have been in other organizations. So everybody has something that they're bringing to the table. And what we've always known you for is Beats, Rhymes, and Relief. And, I want you to tell us about the community work, because I know not just nationally, certainly people know your organization, but locally in Maryland and in Baltimore specifically, it's like a staple of the community in terms of all the mutual aid and events and things that you've done over many, many years. So tell folks about that, because I think people listening would say, well, why? Like, okay, there's a million people out here who've had an incident where they lost their, limb or something happened. Like, why? Is it just because he's your friend?
Right.
No, it's because you're a community leader.
That's right.
That's right.
So tell us about what you've been doing.
So, Beach Rise Relief was started in late 2012, early 2013. My homeboy Omar, who y'all know,
Love Omar.
He's a Syrian brother at the time the revolution was going on, the Civil War, the atrocities that were happening in Syria. And prior to that, I had been doing music videos and films since '96.
Yeah.
And he knew my relationship with a bunch of different artists. I had been on tour with Snoop and Dre and them, and done a lot of stuff with a lot of different people. And he wanted to do a benefit concert for Syria. So we were both film editors working at a production company.
You're that too.
Yeah,
You're
that
also
too.
a film editor.
That's right. So we were working at a company in D.C. and he came to me and was like, "Yo, can we put together this concert?" And I was like, "Sure. Let's make it happen." We started to build on it, and then I was like, "It should be more than a concert, and maybe it should be more than just for Syria. After we do this, like let's do it for other folks too in our own community." Because that's going to get buy-in from the artists and from the community itself.
Right.
Like, we can't just be doing stuff for overseas. Let's do it for them. Let's get some humanitarian relief. Came up with the name Beach Rise Relief, and we did this concert in D.C. Raised a bunch of money, went over to Syria, did a bunch of paintings and artwork and workshops with the kids, brought it back, wrapped the National Mall with a mile worth of paintings, did a 3-day event there, and then a concert. And, it had also come out of, I used to play in the streets real heavy. I got into a lot of trouble as a youngster. Then got a film career with people showing me how to do film when I was 15. My uncles friends, they was all going to college. My grandfather was a documentarian. So they knew that one of my outlets was getting into film and like being creative. And by the grace of God, when I graduated high school, I was able to go right into the film industry and make some money. So at some point along the way, I lost my way. I got locked up. They tried to give me 226 years for a crime I didn't commit. I spent 5.5 years in prison, beat the charge, and came home. I ended up taking a gun charge, which is why I was in prison for the 5 years, but I was fighting out the case. So part of that was like, when I get home, I need to do something for younger folks that have went down the wrong path, and
Right.
how do we help them out? So I kind of brought that into the conversation with Beats. From there, we started doing a whole bunch of music videos and big 3-story murals. We all did graffiti, so we were kind of doing this thing around the country: Chicago, L.A., Texas, Atlanta, D.C., Baltimore.
Wow.
We would do these big community days, give book bags. They were like back to school days, and we paint a big wall and do music and do a music video too, and have all the local conscious MCs come out and be a part of that music video. And then that just graduated into more, bigger, better things, teaching young people the behind the scenes of the camera work, the graphics, the editing, the content creation, security, live event production. That's the mainstay of what we do, is teach folks how to break into the entertainment industry without going to college if you've been down the wrong path, whatever the case may be.
So that's what you had been
That's
doing.
what I had been doing.
And then the editing is a part of that's how you make your money. It's
Right.
a part of all those things. And so then the Justice League comes about, and you say, well, I can contribute this big thing by being the one to capture all the behind the scenes footage of and in front of the scene, behind and whatever,
Yeah,
all the things, in which you now have so much footage. To my son's point, when you were incapacitated, I remember getting into a little bit of a tiffy with our other friend, Julianne Hoffenberg, who you know, I think if you didn't make it, Jules would not have made it because she was so invested,
Yes.
which she is with all of us.
All
if
of
I
us,
if
right.
I get sick, if my son gets sick or something happens, Jules is Mama Bear. But I was like, Jules, I want you to go downstairs to his
Confiscate the
apartment
drives.
and take all the drives out of his apartment. And she was like, I don't know if I should do that because his mom and his family, and I don't want to touch any, take anything because it's not my place. I was like, Jules, go get the drives. The drives are important. Anybody who goes in that apartment, of course not your family, but anybody else who sees all these orange drives, they know there's got to be some value. It may be. Let's see. And by the way, I don't even know what we said on those drives, so we needed to secure them.
It's a lot on there. No, it made sense. It was a smart thing to do. I think, at the end of the day, it's about protecting the family, ourselves, and the footage itself. Anybody could have come in there and taken that stuff and said, hey, that was mine. And, my family might not have
known even what they're looking for. Your mom probably would have been like, what?
Okay, she probably would have gave it away. She did the right thing. You did the right thing.
Yeah, protect the footage.
But there's so much footage on that note. Like, we talking about, I started filming, quick short story. I met Linda and Carmen at the United Nations, I think in 2012. And Carmen, through a mutual friend, was saying how, telling me about the work that she did with Mr. B, and was like, we doing this thing called Growing Up Lockdown. I know you do graffiti. Why don't you come up and do some walls?
right.
So I remember I did that that whole interactive wall. If not this, then this, and everybody was signing the wall.
I remember that.
Yes.
Mysonne was in that show.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
100%. Might sign the wall. Carmen had the wall for a while. I don't know if she still got it, but so I had come in that way, and we just started building on a bunch of different things. And I was like, look, let me bring the art skills, let me bring the film skills to this. Plus the organizing and the context, let me just figure out what I can bring to I love the energy, you know what I mean?
Right.
And, as much as I love Baltimore and D.C. and the work that people do down there and the work that we were doing down there, a chance to work with Mr. Belafonte was, a dream. I still got the album, the Jump Up Calypso album that I stole from my uncle when I was like 14 because I wanted to be a DJ, right? So I had this... I was in awe of the work he did, and knowing his background and knowing how much he worked in the community, I was like, I gotta seize the moment and learn something from this.
Well, that's right.
What is something that you could say that Mr. B taught you? Like, give one thing that he inspired, because we all have our different things, but I want you to just give yours.
It's something that both Mr. B and Suzanne Rostock said. Don't hold history hostage. They said, keep filming, film everything, and I know Mr. B and Suzanne used to kind of argue about the archive that this man had, because he was another one that would film everything with Martin Luther King, with, there's so much footage of all that stuff that, it's just somewhere, right? Which, why we got Following Harry and, all of the years of documentation.
Right.
Yeah, so, Suzanne Rostock is an amazing filmmaker. She has an amazing film out called Following Harry, which is documenting 20-plus years with Harry Belafonte and all the work that he does, probably more than 20 years.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And she, just an amazing soul, has been super supportive from the day that I met her. We used to share footage and share photographers and cinematographers and DPs. Like, we were just instantly locked in, and everything that was happening around the time, we would team up and work on and capture. But just an amazing soul, amazing person, someone that I love to death.
Yeah, I love Suzanne.
Yeah.
I love Suzanne. So don't hold history hostage. Film everything. And you
everything.
certainly have done that.
Yes.
So I think that kind of brings us a little bit. Now y'all know, who Rameen is and the contribution that you've had to the movement. It's funny because, I hate the camera. That's never been my thing. It's still to today, it's not my thing. But there are times when I see old footage, because there's been a few birthdays and other celebrations where you put short clips together of
yeah.
things that I've done. And it's always great to see moments that you may have forgotten. Like you said, Mice, you might have forgotten, or, you know, you don't know how important things are today. But in 5 years, 10 years, it's like, wow, I can't believe we did all of that. And recently we attended the award, the gala for the Gathering for Justice, 20 years,
Right.
still here, working, still gathering.
That's right.
And there was excuse me, Linda and I participated in a tribute to Carmen Perez. And as we watched the video that was assembled, it's just like seeing, even though the subject was Carmen, obviously we're right there. And you see so many moments that I'm like, oh, wow, I remember that day. I remember the laughs, because that's why y'all are like, kiki already. We just sat here
Right.
and everybody's like ready to bust out laughing and nothing funny happened.
Right.
But it's just how we always have been.
Yeah.
I remember the arguments, you know, like we would be yelling and arguing for hours
Yes.
on the road. We didn't have money to fly into cities. We had to drive in a van
Yes.
to get everybody there, because it was either the flights or the food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
couldn't be
And
both.
it couldn't be both.
Yeah.
So we drove all around this country, from Albany, New York, all the way down D.C., down south.
Went to Flint in the truck. I
Flint,
remember y'all was joking
Michigan.
on me because I ate a donut in my sleep.
Did we?
On the way to Flint, Michigan.
To
and
Flint,
Tamika got
Michigan.
mad because I was filming her when she was sleeping.
Yo, I drove, I don't
And
know.
Jules almost killed us.
Yeah, well, no, that's two different times.
Yeah.
Well, that
To
was a couple
Flint,
times to Flint,
Michigan,
yeah.
we were in two separate vans,
Tamika
and Jules
drove
and I
17
flew
straight hours.
17
Oh, right.
hours.
Wow.
Flew there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, you know, we got a story
100%.
of the things that have happened.
Yeah.
And now you guys have grown up, right? Even though we have families and all of that before, now y'all are like old men.
That's right. Pushing 50.
Yeah,
It's crazy.
pushing 50. And you were always dealing with health challenges around your legs. Always saying your legs were in pain, you know, needing to stretch, needing to wear your compression socks and all of that. But I don't think that any of us, including you clearly, appreciated how severe the situation was. You didn't really
No, I
think
had
it
no
was
idea.
to the point.
I mean, I knew it was bad. I felt the pain every day. I was in chronic pain for sure. And there was many loved ones that would say, yo, just go to the hospital, get it checked out. You know, I'm sure we can do something. But for me, hospitals are where people go to die. You know what I mean? And I think that's been something that
The men.
Yeah, that's the
I
main
think
thing.
it's also in my family a little bit. Like, it's not just the men, the women also say that.
Really?
Yeah, 100%. Like, as much as my mother will advocate for someone to go, she'll be the last person to go herself.
Wow.
And if you remember, while she was here helping me recover,
she had the
she
incident.
almost died
Yeah.
and almost got her toe
Yeah.
amputated.
Oh, my
because
God.
she didn't want to go to the hospital and get it checked out.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think it's a
Lord
piece.
help us.
Yeah, my God. And I think there was also the issues of health insurance and, you know, not really having steady income all the time. You know, you could work 2, 3, 4 years on a documentary and make great money. But then you could go a year or so and not work. You know what I mean? And it'd be rough. So you'd be squirreling away to try and, you know, save for those times. And we all organized it, swiping cards, making T-shirts.
Oh, we did that. We did all our own money.
All our
People
own
say, "Oh, y'all getting paid
Yeah.
to be." Man, there's movement work is the place where you make the least amount of money,
Right.
and we put our money in to make these things happen.
Absolutely.
When we had a T-shirt that you had made, who paid? You all paid for
Yeah.
it. I never paid for the T-shirt.
Yeah, either I paid for it or I split it with Michael Skolnick or
Somebody.
somebody between
Exactly.
us, we was paying for it, and we was paying for the design if we weren't designing it ourselves. Most of them I designed myself, but a couple I got some help on.
But designing a T-shirt is something people get paid. That's
they
like
get paid
yeah.
to do.
Yeah, you get
And
paid
then
for
when
that.
they
marketing.
sell them, yeah, 100%, 100%. And we was giving them away. We was
Oh
never
my
selling
God.
them.
We
It was
love to give away a T-shirt. We've given away thousands
Thousands.
of
Easy.
T-shirts.
Might be millions, man.
It might be between those I Can't Breathe.
Yeah,
Come
man.
on.
Boycott Black Murder.
Right.
It's
We the President.
Oh,
Come on.
man. We have
So many different
We got some
t-shirts.
classics.
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So you had this issue with your legs. Give us the breakdown of what the issue was. How
Yeah.
did it happen?
Yep, 100%.
What did you tell me yesterday? Is what?
Dirt bikes and drugs.
Dirt bikes and drugs. Lord have
Hey,
mercy.
Look, let's just be real about it. You know, at the end of the day, I loved playing in the streets, whether it was skateboarding, riding bikes, dirt bikes, stealing bikes, you know, jumping on whatever bike I could get on. You know, I just was one of them dudes that loved to do those extreme sports.
Daredevil.
MMA, boxing, surfing. Throw it at me, Muay Thai. I'm with it. Let's go. Let's rock. I had, when I came home from prison, a couple years after I came home, I had wrecked a bike in B-More. I was riding a wheelie. I hit some gravel, tore my legs up, and the gravel kind of it dig into your skin, and it mess it up. And again, I was one of them people. I think at the time I was dating a nurse, and she helped me clean it out, and she was telling me go to the hospital, but it wasn't me. I'm gonna be all right. I got a strong body. It's gonna heal. So I tried to take care of it for over 10 years, and it had some issues. My legs would swell, they would cramp. It was waking up in constant pain, and at the end of the day, you got so much that you want to do, so much that you are doing, and then still striving to do, that I always put myself last.
And people depending on you.
Because
we would be like, Rameen, can you go to Chicago? And you're like, okay.
Yeah, let's go, right? And then that also had an effect on the people that loved you and are really trying to get you to take care of yourself and get checked out and all that stuff, and not listening to them. That's what hurts me today. Is like, all the people that kept telling me, yo, just go get it checked out, do this, do that. You got to take care of your health. It's I mean, what can I say? I'm half the man I used to be because of it, because I didn't listen. But the reality is, it was so much pain. It was so much just trying to stay the course. I do whatever it took to take that pain away and just keep me, grinding. And so eventually, at the time, I was up and down. I had the spinal injury and infection in 2023, I believe. And that damn near left me paralyzed. And I went to the hospital, and it took me like 7 months to heal from that, and got up back walking again and felt 100% and got strong again. But the pain never left, you know what I mean? And so I continued to do what I do, and whatever it took to take that pain away, I was doing that. And, I had been out of work from the spinal cord injury, and kind of got out of the loop of making money. And so I was grinding on the nonprofit, trying to do the concerts, trying to figure out any way I could to at least keep beats alive. You know what I mean? So I just put too much time in, and I had thought I had rolled my ankle. My ankle started to swell. We were supposed to have the super lit holiday benefit last December 26th, and like the week of the 10th.
This is 2024.
25. This was, yeah.
24.
We're in 25 now.
Yes.
Right. Yes, 24. And so the week before the concert, my ankle started to swell up, turned a little red, and I was like, I think I just rolled my ankle. I got another week. I got a lot of pushing to do. I'm just gonna push through. And a couple of days later, I think it was Jules and Jeffrey found me dead on my living room floor or in the couch. I'm not sure where I was. You had come down, so you might know better than me. And I was septic. The infection had gotten so bad it was septic. I caught something called necrotitis fasciitis, which is another infection that is basically a flesh-eating disease. And it started in my right leg, but my left arm got eaten away. I had 7 surgeries. It tore the hand up, tore the back of my arm, back of my head, just different places. My body was basically killing itself, eating itself. And I remember, the only piece that I remember, and I didn't know it was Carmen at the time, but I was in the hospital bed, I didn't know where I was, and I guess Carmen had posed as my sister to get me to sign the papers to amputate the legs, and she just kept kind of pushing me and hitting me like, "Yo, you want to live, right? You want to live,
Right? Because otherwise, they were gonna just let you go.
They were gonna let me die. And so I remember briefly, like my eyes open and someone saying, "If you want to live, sign here." And I couldn't. I just made a mark. I couldn't sign anything. And next thing I know, I woke up 5
No,
weeks.
but you said, because I want to make sure for legal purposes.
Yeah.
You were asked multiple times, and you said yes.
Yes.
You were the most clear.
Yes.
Because we understood that if you didn't want to, that you could go. And I think with Carmen, when she said brother, like we always say that. So as soon as, that's my brother. That's my brother. And so they were like, this is your brother. Okay, well, you better talk to your brother.
Right.
Because if he doesn't right now make the decision, he's not going to make it. And I think that, well, first of all, you were already, like you said, you were gone. I mean, it had to be resuscitated. And I think more than likely in the next few hours, you had been gone because they amputated your legs like that.
Yeah, and they did it twice. I died 3 times on that table. They had cut my legs off on the 13th below the knee, and then 2 days later they cut them above the knee. And it was, it was wild. Like the waking up, 5 weeks later, or however many weeks later it was, and not having your legs and not being able to move any part of I could only move my head. I couldn't talk. I had to trach in. My little niece is making a cardboard thing with the alphabet on it and pointing to each letter to try and communicate to see if I had brain function, which proved to be like a super helpful thing because then I could communicate with everybody. Like my mind is still working. I was in the coma. I could hear people yelling at me, screaming, crying, praying. I could hear a bunch of different things, and I could feel the pain. Like it was rough. But I think one of the things that had kind of helped me deal with the pain and not being able to communicate that I needed more pain medication and certain nurses, whatever. There's a bunch of different stuff in the hospital, but trying to work through that and make yourself kind of figure out, that you can get through this was, I everything in Palestine had been happening for almost a year and a half at that point. And so my whole thinking was like, these kids over there, them people over there, they have no anesthesia. They got no pain meds. They got no nothing. I got the best drugs in the world. Maybe I'm not getting as much as I think I need. It's, you gonna make it. Like if they making it, you gonna make it. Which was nuts. But yeah, it was a challenge to wake up, in a whole new world and not be able to move and not be able to communicate. But I will say, and this is another reason why I love y'all, is waking up and seeing y'all there every week, multiple times a week, coming in, laughing, joking, just
on the phone,
making plans, really trying to get people to do this and do that, talk to that nurse. Now I get her in here. Tamika helping me out with the dry mouth and the busted lips and getting, some Vaseline, a lip gloss, whatever it was.
Vaseline.
Yeah, Vaseline to make, get that go away. Like that, it was waking up to real family, including my real family in the building, all day, every day. And that's really what kept me alive and kept me going.
Yeah, it was very real to me.
Yeah.
Just seeing you like that. And I felt like I had to be there. Like at least once or twice a week I would just come pop up, the middle of the night, sometimes in the daytime, but just to check on you and just watching you casually just get stronger and stronger. Like, because we really, like I said, we really for a minute was like, yo, I don't know if Rod's going to make it, man. Like we didn't know. Like you said, you died 3 times and it was that type of situation. Yeah. But when I sit here and think, I never knew any of these things. I didn't know about the drugs. I didn't know about the bicycle. I didn't know about any of these things. So, like, the way that you was able to just keep this from us, I guess, nobody could have told me that you was using any type of drugs. I would have never thought that. Right. Maybe you smoking some weed or something, but I would have never thought anything past that.
Because it wasn't to get high. It was to alleviate pain. It was to keep going. You know what I mean?
But addiction is addiction.
It is.
So once you start something and you get addicted, you don't, then your body craves it. What, it doesn't matter how it started, because I was just trying to sleep.
Sure.
When I started taking pills,
1,000%.
I wasn't going to get the pills. No, I was trying to sleep. In fact, in the past, when I've taken drugs recreationally, I never got addicted.
Right.
It was simply like, fun, and that's it, partying. But when I said I have a need that is very specific, and I'm looking for something like to scratch an itch, which was that I couldn't rest, that's when the addiction happened, because once it solved that problem, the problem sort of persists even if it's in your mind.
1,000%.
And so I just want to say that because, I think I'm an addiction relief specialist now. That's my new title.
I love it. Listen,
but somebody got to do it.
Your book got to help get me through. So
I mean, seriously, that because it's you have to ensure that you share the real experience if it's going to be worth it, why God saved your life.
That's right.
If it's going to be worth it for God to say, I brought you in this world and I could have took you out.
100%. And he let me know. I'm just going to say a little piece of this. I literally, in that process of dying 3 times, I flew with the angels. I saw where we go. I laughed and joked with who I think was Angel Gabriel. You know what I mean? Like, I literally saw thousands of angels and fly into what I could see, what heaven looked like. And it was the craziest experience I've ever had in my life, but the most beautiful and most peaceful. And when I got that finger pointing back, like, nah, you ain't going there, type situation, it reaffirmed that I'm here for a purpose and that there's a lot more work to do.
But speaking of going back to the addiction thing, for all of this time, nobody knew anything. We had no idea that there was we did not know the severity of the issue, which means that nobody had the reason to say, oh, well, how are you coping? Right? But I think that speaks to the healthcare system, which kind of turns the page to why we're really here. Because, Julianne Hoffenberg, she calls everybody to say, Rameen's still dealing with a lot. There were highs, even though you were at the bottom. But there were highs because it's like, okay, we got doctors that actually care. And they were fighting to make sure you live.
1,000%.
They would say, today, 3:00, we amputating his arm. And it's like, no way. We decided at one point that we were going to encourage your mom to let you go.
Yeah.
Right? Because at the point that they started saying they were going to take your arms, we were like, there is no way that Rameen wants to wake up with no legs and an arm, or maybe both, because at one point they were saying both, and then it kind of became one. We're like, he's going to be so depressed. And she was very stressed because she had to make that decision. They kept asking her, should we go more or should we stop? What do you want us to do? Because the flesh-eating virus is tearing him up. And they were like, do we keep going or what do you want? And she's like, I don't know, because on one hand, I want my son to live, but it's very selfish to try to keep somebody knowing that it's a condition that's gone a little bit too far. And my son was saying, we want Rameen to live, but if he can't use his hands to do the thing he loves, which is editing, what the fuck?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
100%.
everybody was like, we finally was like, she can't, his mom, this is too much.
Right.
Then they would come back and say, we were able to clean the arm. Damn, like that's a high. Like, whoa, he's gonna live.
Right.
So that told us keep fighting,
Yeah.
keep fighting. So then we started being like, no matter what they say, it's gonna be good.
Right.
Everybody's, and you continue to defy the odds so many times. But it feels like if we had known how serious this was, and I hope that you can speak to, for people who are dealing with health challenges, it's a pain. They know it's been there. There's a feeling they know. It's a chest, it's a back, it's a thing. We know the
Sure.
stuff that all of us are walking around with something that we know, like, I probably should address this.
Yeah.
And we never really do. And then a little thing becomes a big thing. Talk about that, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Listen, health is wealth. That's the biggest lesson I took away from this thing. And I heard people say it all the time for years, but never really, my health wasn't good, so I didn't really equate how important it was to invest in your health.
Yeah.
And invest in yourself and invest in life.
But how do you invest in health when the healthcare system is telling you, is not giving you the things you need?
That is the craziest thing. I think it starts with mental health, right? I think the reason why I had so much progress and so many gains and wins and comebacks is because I've always had that positive outlook, and I can, I'd rather laugh to keep from crying than really sit there and dwell on it and figure out a solution.
Right.
One of the things we always talked about is solution based. Let's figure out the solution. So it's partly what you can train your brain to think around how you are going to survive or what method you are going to use to get to a better place. I think with folks that are struggling with, I got this pain, this ache, this whatever, and I'm gonna do what I know does to fix it, rather than go to the hospital and get it checked out. I would say, with or without insurance, go get it checked out.
Right.
Because
with
you don't
or without,
know. Yeah,
right.
There is, your life is too important. Your family's feelings, the people that care about you, the work that you're doing is far more important than you thinking you know everything and can push through with whatever help or no help. And I would also say, like, the system, we need more advocates to figure out how the system is going to get fixed, because it's terrible. It's the worst thing in the world when it comes to what you need to be provided and what they actually going to give you, and the hoops you got to jump through to get it.
So that brings us to, we talking about healthcare, and we currently experiencing a government shutdown. And one of the main things is healthcare.
That's
right.
one of the big fights.
That's one of the big fights is healthcare. So when we look at this situation, like after you was explaining to us the seriousness of what you're dealing with healthcare, I remember when you was released from the hospital, they said they was going to have someone there with you, to be with you, that you were in the process of getting prosthetics, right? You were making so much progress. Like you was getting workouts, all of these things. It was so much positive. Everything was going. And then one day, it just turned into something that stopped.
Yeah, so everything stopped. I had a bunch of gains. Like, when I came out the coma, I couldn't lift my arms. I couldn't move anything. A couple months in the rehab, I was getting in and out of the chair, could basically do everything in myself. Got home, was moving, got into physical therapy, going 3-4 times a week, working out at the house. And was, by the grace of God, was able to get a prosthetic place to start working with me before the insurance got approved. And they built the legs, custom built them for me.
How much are the legs?
If
In insurance, you would have had to pay what? If the insurance covers
if the insurance
it,
came through, I wouldn't have paid a penny.
Not one dime.
No, not a
but
penny.
without,
it's basically $62,000 per leg.
Wow.
It's $25,000 just for the feet, the shins, and the thigh sockets, and the knees are $40,000 a piece. So it's like $108,000 total. My math might not be mathing right now, but it's
that's okay.
$108,000.
We get it.
Yeah.
The $100,000 what we need. To be clear, let's get to the end first.
Yeah,
then we go back to the story. We need $100,000 for some legs, feet, shins, thighs, and knees.
Right.
Yeah, $100,000.
And then it's the physical therapy and it's all the stuff that comes
and that's
with
more money.
It's like a year-long process, easily for me to be able to at least be moving freely on my own. I mean, I'll be rolling in that wheelchair all around the city, but at the end of the day, it was a lot of big gains. And from the hospital bed, they kept telling me, file for Social Security. You was a filmmaker for 30 years. You paid into it. Get your money. You disabled now. So I did that. In July, I was approved. I got my first check in August, which is only $2,000 a month. it's like $2,100. My rent is $3,250, so that don't even cover, none of that. So as soon as I got approved, they cut off the food stamps, they cut off the cash assistance, they cut off the Medicaid, and I brought receipts. I got.
And you had never been on these things before.
No, I think when I came out of prison, I
Yeah,
been
but
on
I
for
mean,
another- but
you had not been.
No, I've been paying in.
That's right. That's right. So, because they're gonna say that the welfare king
nah, that ain't
is
me.
asking for more money on the taxpayer.
We all go through some
exactly.
things. Come on.
That's right.
And we be working and paying for that to make sure anybody at
It's
any
insurance.
place in time. That's right. That's the hood insurance. There it is.
That's right. That's right.
And so everything got cut off. This was July 31st. Everything come off. We October 14th now. So 2.5 months. I've had no physical therapy. I've had all of my and at the time the insurance company that I had and Medicaid kept denying the prosthetics after they already approved them. Wow. So they approved them, and the people had submitted for the feet, the shins, and the thighs, and they were like, we want to try some different knees to see what works best for you. You're a very active person. You're strong. Some things might work better than others, so let's try them. So we got approved for everything. They built it, except for the knees. They said, we're going to submit the knees after we find which one works for you. When they found it and they submitted them, then they denied the knees, and then they went back and denied everything else. Wow. So I had 4 appeals, state complaints, was talking to the Attorney General's office, a million different organizations, trying to get, to get them to approve them so I could have them. Like, it was, I document everything. There's footage of me walking on these legs to show the insurance people, like, this will help me in my situation. And the longer you sit in a chair, you just constantly bent, so you deteriorate in your hips, your back, all that kind of stuff. And any person that has had an amputation will tell you it's best to start walking right away. So everyone was advocating for that. Then we, the Social Security got approved, everything got cut off, and I'm filing appeals to try and get it back, spending 8 hours in the St. Nicholas Job Center on 125th trying to work with the people there. Can't get nowhere, hours on the phone every day, 5-6 hours, not just like 2 hours, just on hold to even talk to somebody who then transferred me back to the loop that started me over the process. And then the day ends and you still on hold thinking somebody going to answer, and around 10 o'clock, they, the phone just hang up. So going through all those processes of trying to navigate how I can get this thing approved was crazy. And then, once you get approved for Social Security, Medicare is supposed to come with that. So I'm thinking, okay, at least I got a route there. Let me try and get the Medicare instead of the Medicaid. But you don't get Medicare until you've had 2 years of payments from disability. So now they saying I can't even get Medicare until July or August of 2027. So I'm trying to explain to them. So I'm just supposed to sit here and let my hips and my back, deteriorate while I'm waiting for y'all to decide, even if I can apply. Like, that's not even guaranteeing you're gonna get it. So I, just start thinking like, there's got to be another way, right? And I went to many organizations that help folks like me and try and navigate the system, and then we get the shutdown. So anything that I was working on that end, regardless, is not going anywhere. It's sitting on somebody's desk, and that stuff can take 6 months, or just longer, regularly, just for them to even look at it and start a case. So, it's just it's been the most frustrating process out of all of this, which makes me go back to my point of, health is wealth, and don't let it get to this point. Invest in yourself, care about yourself, and get yourself right before it get worse.
I mean, and if we're going to go straight to the issue, it also kind of puts you back into the loop of what's the pain management plan, right? Because now, not just physically, like you said, the hips and all of that, but then mentally, it's kind of like, damn, I'm stressed out, trying to do it the right way, that you can't get the things you need, and you start seeing yourself, or feeling that, at least I think, feeling like frustrated, and frustration can easily turn to people reverting to old
true,
habits,
yeah.
you know.
1000%.
And so it's like this system it's designed to spin you back around, and then it wants to tell you that you're the problem.
Right.
Because they won't approve anything quickly, but they will deny you in 24 hours.
Oh yeah.
That's
It
crazy.
might not even take 24 hours. You might hit the button, you get all.
And it's automatic no.
Yeah, that part is crazy, and I think no matter how we look at it, when it comes to the harm that the way this medical system is set up, what that causes to people that are really striving to get better, to be better, to to contribute to society. It's a trap. It's like probation is a trap. This is a trap. The medical system, the insurance system is set up to see you fail, and them spend.
But they still be getting money.
And they still want to charge you hundreds of dollars a month,
right.
sometimes thousands of dollars a month to get that platinum insurance.
And by the way, once you get the legs all worked out, so say people pour in donations, which we're hoping that from 10 to 100 to maybe somebody has $100,000 out there who wants to take this on. But once that happens, there's still so much work to be done to get you walking, to get you moving, to get you, to make sure you can use them properly. And if I remember correctly, because we interviewed a sister by the name of Keisha Green. I think her organization is called Amplified for Amputees. And we had her on, and she talked about the pain that is associated with the prosthetics. In fact, I think she decided not to use them because she didn't like the way it made her feel. And I don't know if that was her consistent decision, but at one point she was worried about that. So now this is a process. You don't just slap them on and get to work.
Right.
You got to actually get them right, and go through a whole process.
And build up your body to make
the strength,
it strong enough
100%.
to be able to use them.
So you need health insurance.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, like it's when you have an amputation, you have what's called phantom pains. So to this moment, I could still feel the weight of my legs, my ankles, my feet, my toes, all of that. And it's like a constant electro pulse, stabbing, burning, it's just constant pain. Like that's what I feel. And they say it goes away for some people. They say it's worse or less for others. But I feel that all day, every day. And then, yes, of course, going through the process of getting the prosthetics fitted, your legs are going to shrink during that process. There's a whole bunch of things that are going to change over time. And the pinching, the aching, the building, the muscle strength, all of that stuff hurts. And the medical system is designed to just pump you full of drugs, get you back on the hook, so that you stop working yourself out and become, it's like a consumable product. You become a consumable product because you keep needing this medication, that medication, and they're not just doing this out of the kindness of their heart.
That's right.
They're getting money off of each prescription you get, each PT appointment, all of that, right? It's a business. We don't have universal health care here, where other countries do, which makes no sense. But at the end of the day, all of those things are set up in almost a cycle of violence, a cycle of harm for people to really make it through. But there are plenty of people that, despite the system, despite the cycle, will absolutely push as hard as they can. I feel like I'm one of those people in the sense of, I don't care if I'm on my floor doing planks and push-ups and standing on my hands or whatever. If I got to walk down the stairs on my hands, I'm going to figure that out. You know what I mean? So at this point, it's whatever it takes. And we know it takes a village, right? So at the end of the day, I appreciate and love y'all for bringing me on here to help me tell the story and get some support. But it is one of those things where the system is designed and set up to see you fail, and I refuse to fail.
Yeah, it's definitely designed for that. When I was hearing your story, you had posted it on Instagram, and like always, we live in the same building, and Rameen will never say anything. He just comes, hey, he's giving you a hug, and you don't know he's dealing with these things, But when I seen the fact that he has been working, jobs are slowed up. He had a job that was amazing job, then it got slowed up. We dealing with all this type of recession right now, and the man don't have
recession.
Like we in a recession.
We almost in depression.
This is damn near depression, And now you talking about the man doesn't have health care to continue on. So it's just overwhelming to me. I was like, we got to amplify Rameen's story and let the world hear what's going on, not just in his personal life, but just how the system is just fucking him around.
That's
like
right.
the system is really fucking people around. And the average everyday person who doesn't have resources, who doesn't have friends like us, who can't come on here and just tell his story, is dealing with this every day.
That's right.
There's so many
Yeah.
people that are dealing with. That's why when I be hearing people talk about just shit that's rich people problems, I'm like, y'all don't even understand the average person every day is dealing with so much shit that y'all don't even identify with. And you think that people care about that dumb shit you talking about? People are talking about just regular health care. And, you know, people, we focusing on so much other shit in this world, especially in this country. And people are mad that people are fighting for health care.
Right.
There are people, there are countries, there are nations where health care is free.
Yes.
Like it's a thing, and we are one of the richest nations in the world, and our people don't have free health care. That means that we are invested in death.
That's right.
That we're literally invested in death. Like I watch
sickness.
And sickness, and this is one of the commodities of America is sickness and death. You know, the pharmaceutical companies, they either don't give you the medication you need, or they give you medication until you die. And then they make you sick, right? They do all type of shit to make you sick, and then they give you some shit that they know is not gonna help.
Environment makes you
All
sick.
of these
the
things.
food makes you sick. Then the pharmaceutical companies are supposed to fix it,
Right.
but
You know-
they don't always.
Right, and they're not giving you the right stuff.
They're
They're
not
not
giving
fix it.
you-
They give you something to maintain.
That's right.
That's it.
That's
It's to
right.
maintain it, and it's really fucked up. You know, I watched my mother pass away.
Yeah.
You know, God bless her dead. Just watching her dealing with this cancer thing, and just understanding how going to the hospitals and seeing people in the state that they are in, knowing that they're giving you all these fake chemo shit, all these things that they know are more than likely it's not going to help you live. But they charging you out the wazoo.
Yeah.
You paying for fucking medication that you can't even afford. They charging you all this time to stay in the hospital. They taking your little checks. You work your whole life, and then the money that you got saved away, you got to fucking pay them to keep you in the hospital.
I remember you used to pay. One time you were paying like $800
$800
for medication.
fucking medication. And it's like knowing that this medication is only just giving her relief. It's not helping her. It's just giving her relief so that they can string her along long enough to fucking take every dime for her until she passes away. And it's like, yo, this shit is not okay. You know, it's just not okay at all. So, you know, I'm glad that we have resources, we have a platform that we can be able to amplify your story, and hopefully some people will hear, you know, and be able to invest in your life, because America's investing in death, man, and I want to be able to highlight you as a good person.
That's
this
right.
Is
That's
one
why
of
it was
the, this is one of the
important.
best
That's right.
people that I know.
That's right.
You know, it's not really good people who are always have a positive word, always got something kind to say. Even at the worst that they dealing with, the man was always positive. So I'm glad to be able to utilize my platform, and we will be donating to make sure that we can do whatever we can. Hopefully someone else sees it. Maybe we get a billionaire donor that said, we're going to make sure we get everything
That's
you need.
right. We
You know,
need
that's what we need.
$100,000 for
Or just
Rameen.
some work. You know, I want to earn this myself too.
And
so.
he's one of the best video director
Editors,
editors
that's
that
right.
you will ever see.
That's right. I want to say, you said something about advocacy, that when you woke up, you knew there were people there.
Yeah.
Your mom never left your side, stayed in the chair overnight sometimes, there every single day. Your family was there, or we were there. Somebody was in there every day. And that advocacy is so important, because I remember when my son's mom, Miss Patricia, was in a, you know, she was like always in the hospital at this point. I remember that she used to say, I need my son at this hospital in the morning when the doctors walk around.
Yeah.
Because if you let the doctors pass and the time is gone, they don't think you have anybody supporting you, and you're not a priority on that board.
Listen,
you want your name on that. Come see me.
100%. And I will say two things to that. One, that it was because of y'all. There was like 30 people in the waiting room at times.
Every day.
You know what I mean? Every
for a
day.
while.
For a long time. And people seeing me around the clock until visiting hours got cut off. The only person that could stay would be my mother, right? And that is part of why I got such extremely good, tremendous care while I was in that hospital. But I will also say things were not all the way right.
I understand.
100% that night shift, that overnight shifts are straight body snatchers. It was because there was no one there. They could prey on the weak. Someone who couldn't communicate. You know, the best I could do is make a noise with my mouth if they wouldn't pick up the card that I could hit the, the alphabet, to communicate. There are systems in place that make it look real good. And without the advocacy, without the family, without the friends, you are absolutely stuck in a trap.
Yeah.
And they might let you go. I saw plenty of people get taken out of that ICU that probably would have made it had they had someone there.
Somebody there. Well, no health insurance, no food stamps, none of the things that a person who it hasn't even been a year yet, right? I thought that's what Donald Trump, this is what he means. Like, he says he's cutting, in terms of this fight that we're in with the federal government, the Democrats have opted to shut the government down because they want to block Trump and his administration from cutting Medicare and Medicaid, right? They say that will be devastating, which we know is true. And so that's why they opted to do this, to do the shutdown. The Republicans' response is, we're not trying to cut Medicare and Medicaid for people who really need it. We're just cutting waste. So for me, let's just say it's true. I'm going to go with their theory. Let's say it's true. That would mean that a person like you, how can you be considered waste, right? Like, you're a person, the system should, if it goes by what he said, the system should be wanting to make sure you're okay. You come out of the hospital, you don't have a way to just go straight to work. The fact that you're even trying to work in a year is crazy. Most people would be trying to figure out how to survive after, as you said, you can literally feel your toes and your legs. You believe it's there, and then you look, there's a mental health thing. It's so much. But nonetheless, you like, yo, put me to work. I will work. So in order for you to say, I'm going to work, because you don't just just edit, you also film. Getting some legs might keep you from being on the system.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to understand, if what they say is they want to cut waste, then you should be the ideal candidate to have all the things you need to get yourself back up and running. And that is not what they mean. And that's why the Democrats in this situation, we challenge them all the time. But that's why the Democrats in this situation are right to hold the line, because they know that these folks are trying to, just like they fired multiple people. I think they fired the majority of the special education folks in the Department of Education, just like they fired almost 91,000, I think is the number, of federal workers within the first month or two of them being in office, just like 318 plus, we think it's over 400,000, maybe 500,000 black women have been pushed out of the workforce. All of this is about fulfilling Project 2025, and we cannot be party to it. So where we got to hold the line. Yes, there are casualties, but folks need to understand there's a war that has been waged against us, and I think you're an example of how that war is taking shape. It's not a Trump issue, because Biden, it could have been under Biden, probably under Obama, probably. But the people in charge have to take the responsibility for doing what they said, which is to take care of the American people. So we love you, Rameen.
Yes,
I love y'all. Thank y'all
we
so
love you
much
once
for
again.
having me. Yes.
Make sure that you follow Rameen. We'll tell them your Instagram, Rameen.
It's RA_MEEN, or just follow Rhymes for Relief. Follow the nonprofit. Don't follow me.
And do you have a GoFundMe?
I do have a GoFundMe, and just to say it, GoFundMe, they be taking money out, so they be a scam. If y'all know me, you can hit the Zelle. You can donate at Beats, Rhymes, and Relief. We have a trust. We'll put the link together, and everybody can choose their own adventure.
That's
how they
right.
want to donate.
That's right. Well, we should go to GoFundMe also and ask them to waive their fee.
We need our own GoFundMe.
Well, that's a fact. That's a fact. But they have waived the fee before for people in situations, or at least lowered their fee for people or situations that felt, something that was close to their hearts or was, a case that they wanted to advocate for as well. And I think the same should apply here, that you should be able to get $100,000. It's not even enough. You really need probably $250,000 to get yourself back. You didn't talk about rent, being backed up. You didn't talk about how you eat every day, all of that. But if we could get $100,000,
yes, sir,
$100,000, that's enough for us to at least get you on your
That'll
feet.
change the game. And look, like I said, it's about how we can contribute back, how we get back in the fight. How do I get back in the fight, right? And that's all I want to do, whether it's work, whether it's
exactly. And we wouldn't need a job. And if
that's right.
you need some editing, Rameen is an amazing editor. So
or we got the film, get up, stand up. It's got a whole new meaning now.
You know what I mean? But if you do this work, this community work, and the community won't show up for you, then it's like, why would anybody else want to jump in and pick up the mantle? Yeah. Thank you, Rameen. We appreciate you for coming on the TMI show.
Yes.
Keep being great, brother. King. Appreciate you.
Yes. Appreciate y'all. My G.
It does feel like, I feel like I'm so excited that we have a platform where we could bring our friend Rameen on here and know that people will see it and feel compassion for him. So that's like a good thing.
Yes.
But then on the other side, it feels heavy because I'm thinking about people who I see on the streets all across the nation who are houseless, who have amputations, arm, leg, and you see them and you never know a person's story. A person who could have been completely normal, working, doing community work, all the things, now finds themselves in a situation that can only spiral out of control. You don't have the health insurance. You don't have Medicaid. You don't have health insurance. You don't have any food support. You don't have the things you need. You can't work so you can get the money to pay the rent. I mean, it just keeps spiraling and going and going and going until you wake up one day and you're like, I don't even know where to go. I don't even know which direction to turn in. And then people end up having breakdowns, like really having breakdowns. And then they're unable to function in society and to act like everybody else is normal. Like, we're supposed to be the normal ones, and they're supposed to be abnormal, when actually we ought to be saying something is wrong here. This is not normal at all.
That's a fact.
So I feel like, I'm glad to be able to help him, but it just does feel like, damn, what could we do in this world to change the way systems operate? And I don't know what that answer is. Of course, we fight for it every single day. We're fighting like hell to see to it that there be some level of humanity put back into our systems and into the government, and like that they see people over profits. But I just don't know. But I will say that God took Rameen's legs so that he could walk, and
that's a real
he
thing.
He took his legs so he could walk because he was not doing well, which we found out in December of last year. And now we know that, his situation was really dire. But look at him, like, he's looking good. I remember you saying when you saw him days before this, you were like, something's up with Rameen. Didn't look too good. I don't know what's going on. So he was really, really sick. And now he's looking bright. He's looking good. And we want that to continue for him. Definitely
do. What's crazy? When he said that he was literally had passed away in the home, I didn't really realize that, but that's what had happened. They had to perform like shock inside the house, like pretty much like surgery in his house before he even got. They
drilled his legs. It was crazy. All type of things
before they even got him to the hospital. So, but by the grace of God, he's here. And you just look at him. He doesn't look like a person that's woe is me. He still has the energy of someone who, is thriving and living, and he wants to work, right? He didn't come up here for like, I just need a handout. Like, he wants to work. He wants to be productive. You do not you do not see that level of spirit all the time.
Right.
So when you see that kind of spirit, you have to celebrate it. You have to amplify it. You know, God put certain people here for a reason. He is like motivation to me. When I see Rameen every day and he's moving, you know, and I'm like, months ago, the man couldn't even lift it. Like he said, he couldn't lift his arms up. And now he's moving around. He's in his wheelchair. And he's doing all the things. Like he came down here he ain't got he don't have no person that's helping him. He ain't got no, like, the man is everywhere. And he's always got a smile on his face. So, you know, the fact that we could do that for Rameen and just share his story, you know, the good and the bad of his story, but just show the nature of the individual. We met him on the ground doing this work because he's about people. He's for his people, and he's about the right thing. He's about justice. He's about being able to provide resources and services for the community. So, you know, the fact that we were able to do the same for him is something that is beautiful.
Absolutely.
And then we talk about systems, right? And we talk about how this system is failing and all these things. And that brings me to my I don't get it for today. So we talk about the system now. We talk about this Medicaid and healthcare situation is terrible. They're taking resources from all the people in our community. So I'm looking online.
From all the people.
All the people. Like, all the people in our community is losing something. They losing jobs, healthcare, they losing SNAP benefits, all type of thing. So I seen an article. This wasn't the first article. First, they had a whole sweep. So they were giving sweeps of people who were using EBT cards. So, you know, in the hood, this is a regular thing. People be like, yo, I got a little extra food stamps. I'm going to sell you some food stamps. You give me $70. I give me 70 cents on the dollar. You charge them a little cheaper for food stamps. People need food. It's an exchange because you don't have much cash. So you do it. You might spend half of your money on the food stamp. It's a little thing that goes on in the hood. They've been doing it for years. Now they're cracking down, giving people felonies for it. I seen some guy who owned a grocery store. He was buying food stamps from people at a certain rate. They locked him up. They had a whole ring. They was going just locking up people. They see you. If you're using somebody else's EBT card now, they locking your ass up.
Yeah, you shouldn't be using anybody else's EBT card.
But I hear what you're saying. But
I feel like
there's a reality of what we're dealing with. Saying you shouldn't be using anybody else's EBT card because, look, if I got $800 worth of food stamps.
Then that means you might not need $800.
Okay, but I hear what you're saying. But if I got $800 worth of food stamps, but I don't have money to buy the basic essentials, you give me $800 worth of food stamps, but you give me $120 or $200. I got 4 kids. I barely can get anywhere with $120. I'm like, okay, we don't eat as much as the average person do. We might eat a little less. We might only spend $5 worth of food a month, $500 worth of food a month. So I might be able to say, okay, you give me a certain amount of cash, I'll let you spend the other $300 on my food. So that's been going on for years. It's been going on for decades. That's the regular thing that goes on in the community.
No, but I understand what you're saying.
Yes.
But it is still fraud to take somebody's card and act like you are that person. You are.
No, but that's not really what they do most
identity.
of the time.
No, they do. Some people do. And you said, I'll let you use my card. And I'm saying I'm not willing.
But most people go with you to shop. They don't just go.
I am not. That is not always the case. People do slip their cards around and let somebody else go and use the card. And you are pretty much presenting yourself as a person that you are not. And I'm saying that behavior in general also happens in scams and other fraudulent behavior.
Well, this is not really a scam.
Now, what I think is that there is a difference between when I went to the grocery store, I picked you up eggs, milk, whatever. I don't care if it's crab legs. I'm not trying to judge people or say what they should eat or how or whatever. Vienna sausages, sardines, whatever that. I'm just, whatever you get them.
Yes.
Whatever it is. And when I bring it home, I might give you $200, $300 worth of groceries for $180. Okay. I'm not saying that that's right. I'm saying that is very different from I let you go into a place with a card that has my name that is connected to the federal government and the state, and you are now presenting yourself as me. I think that should not happen.
Okay, I hear what you're saying, but if I give you my bank card to go to the bank and I authorize you to take my money out the bank, it's not a crime.
You know that's actually, you're not really supposed to do that.
But it's not
either.
a crime. Nobody. So basically, what I'm saying.
But
is
this ain't your bank card.
Okay, but this what it is. It's
a
my name.
state card.
This is my name on my card. These are resources that was allocated to me. So I gave you and said, hey, you can use my card. I'm giving you my PIN number, so you can utilize my card to get you some groceries.
But you
that
do know that if you get caught with that card,
we know now. I don't think nobody thought, because they wasn't doing it. I never.
Y'all be normalizing crime.
What I'm trying to tell you, it was. I had never heard this black woman. So to fast forward to I don't get it. A black woman faces 10 years in prison for using food stamps to buy food for a bake sale. Now, she used her own food stamp card. This ain't what you talking about. She had food stamps. She utilized her own food stamp card to go to the store. And because she didn't just buy food, she was able to buy the resources. She brought the flour, she brought the cake mix and the batter and all that. And she was making a couple extra dollars off of the food stamps that she got for her. And the lady is facing 10 years in prison. Now, I understand that you might say, okay, you don't need these resources. Maybe you want to cut her off. Maybe you give up, but 10 years in prison? People are barely making it, and you find a way that you say, you know what, I'm going to use these resources to be able to survive. I got this. I'm going to get me a couple extra dollars on the side, and y'all going to lock the lady up for 10 years? For 10 years?
Here's what I think.
Why not make her pay it back? Why not say,
I don't even think that.
If you're going to do anything but 10 years, 10 years plus $250,000 fine, it's unreal. It's just no way you're going to make me think that's okay. Now, listen to me. In the ghetto, people have figured out how to survive all the time. This little hustle, you might sell you the cigarettes. People had the little, before when you couldn't go to the store to get cigarettes, they sell you a little cigarettes. It's always a little hustle. You might have a little extra something. You got the cake sale. I make good cakes. Somebody come buy me some cakes from the house because they know that she make the good cakes. So now, because I utilize the resources that you gave me to buy food, to be able to sell, to be able to make a little extra, you going to tell me, you going to charge me $250,000 and tell me I could face 10 years in prison? Come on.
I would say that.
Come on. I don't get it.
I would say that, number one, this country prioritizes the wrong things.
Hell yeah, that's not
we
people
prioritize the wrong things. And you have a president who right in this moment is cutting deals. He's got his son being pitched to go work at TikTok, which his administration has helped to cut a deal where now the people who he's in business with, right? Somebody would say, well, how do you know they're in business? Maybe not, but they got special interests for sure, will now own TikTok. So he gets to put his foot in the water over here, dip with the business side, right? Mm-hmm. Have his family all caught up in Gaza, in the rebuilding of Gaza with their development stuff, all of that. The Arab nations, they now are talking to them about investing in the rebuilding of Gaza without the people of Gaza being at the forefront of the conversation. They're doing all these deals. The week before last, I think he said he was going to do 100% tariffs on China. Mm-hmm. And the stock market dropped. It was like a terrible day. People lost all kinds of money. It just happened again today. And then in the next day or a day or two, he came back and said, oh, we worked it out. We don't have to do this. Now all of a sudden he's back friendly with China and the stock rises. It's a game that is happening right in front of our eyes. But the system has always been designed to squeeze the little person who's hustling $2 while the people that are making $2 billion, they're able to live free and not be held accountable at all. So I don't agree. I did say what I agree with is that, or what I think is you shouldn't be taking anybody's card that's got names and whatever and acting as if you're that person. Because I think even to your point about using a bank card, you're not going in there presenting yourself
But the thing
as
is this,
the person.
but that's not really true, because if
You
I
can't
had,
go to that teller.
you could go to the
cannot
teller.
go to the teller.
Okay, now I'm saying this. To use, if the card does not have a picture on it,
But they don't do that anymore.
okay, so that means that I'm not presenting myself as anybody. I'm utilizing a card that was provided to somebody. So I'm not false representing myself as anybody. So if you give me a card and there's no picture on it, right, and you don't ask me for picture ID, and I don't have fake ID, I'm not false representing
Nice.
myself as
You
anyone.
know,
I'm in
just
possession
like
of a
you
card
said
that was given to me by the owner of the card, and I was authorized to utilize it.
Just like you are from, first of all, that is illegal because the rules in like Medicaid and food stamps and all of that says that no one else except the person whose card it belongs to is able to use it. That's why
Okay.
they started putting pictures on the card. Okay. Then, because there was a time when they didn't. Matter of fact, they used to give you a booklet with dollars in it that you could go and spend. But then they upgraded to the point where your picture is on it so that they know who's who. So you can argue all the things, but the bottom line is that when you use somebody's card, and that's why a lot of times, I'm from the hood too, so I know that a lot of times people will not let a male go to the grocery store using a woman's card. They gonna try to go get some female because people ain't looking at. They don't do all that. They just kind of let you go.
You just swipe.
People
actually.
are semi-presenting themselves as someone else when you go to the store and use a card. When you go to the ATM and take some money out your mother or somebody else's account, that is very different. So I feel that on that. But giving somebody 10 years and a $250,000 fine for
Crazy.
buying the groceries for a recipe to make money is crazy. I mean, and it's like, again, to know that all these deals are happening, billion-dollar deals are happening.
Yep.
Qatar gives this man a plane. Now they're building a training base, or America is building a training base here that Qatar will be able to use to train their military. Like, it's too much things. It's money
it's unreal.
moving, and they 3-card Molly real fast with it. And then meanwhile, you over here trying to feed your family, and that's a problem. It's just crazy. We prioritize the wrong things, but it's actually the right things, because what you're doing is trying to keep people poor.
That's exactly what you're doing. You're trying to keep people poor. You're not giving them enough resources to actually live off anyway. So when we try to figure out how do I maximize on what you actually give us,
Right.
you crucify and you punish us for it. And it's crazy, man. And it's like we're in times that are uncharted waters. You know, I was having this conversation with somebody the other day. I was like, listen, this is the first time in history that our kids don't have the rights that we had. I don't know, like, people can say what they want, oh, yeah, this and that. Our
What's the
kids,
this and that what people say?
people say, oh, well, you know, we've lived through this and we've overcome that, and none of these people are different, and the Democrats did this and the Democrats did that, and the Republicans did this, and they had this back in the days, and we've overcame all these things, and I'm not saying you wrong, but what I'm saying is, at this moment, my sons do not have the same rights that I've had. They are not afforded the same rights. They don't have the same opportunities that I have at this exact moment. And that's dangerous to me. That's something that I never thought I would live to see. I thought we would continue to progress. You know, I thought we were fighting so that our kids had it easier and had more than we do. Our kids actually, right now, in this exact moment, our children have less opportunities than we did. And that's crazy to me.
Yeah, for sure.
And with that said, we come to the end of another episode. Shout out to our brother, Rameen Aminzadeh, for coming up here, sharing his story. Hope you look him up. Support him in any way you can. If you have a job for him, he definitely wants to work. If you can't employ him, then please donate to him. He has a GoFundMe, and there are definitely other mechanisms that you can utilize to go support him. And we're going to be posting it up. So please support him. We love you, Rameen. Keep up the good work. Thank y'all for supporting us, making us the #1 show in the world. We are definitely the #1 show in the world. We do this out of love. Let us know who you want to see. We're trying to get some big guests on here soon. Me and Tamika are working on some good stuff, some big guests. We're trying to get some big guests. Be quiet,
big guests,
because we're going to keep it up.
I don't know what that means.
Well, it's no small guests. We just trying to get some.
I don't know what that means, because I'm not trying to get big guests. I just want people of substance. They could be
okay.
never heard from before.
But that's what I'm trying to say. Big guests doesn't mean that you're a big name, but we just trying to bring guests of people that we know that you're going to be interested in. That's what we provide on this show. It's no big eyes, no little U's. It's about substance. It's people that we know have stories, people who are honorable. We don't care about your name. Bring your game when you come up here. Make sure you follow us at TMI_show on Instagram and TMI Show PC on YouTube. I'm not going to always be right. Tamika D. Mallory's not going to always be wrong, but we will both always, and I mean always, be authentic.
Peace.
Salute.
That's how we own it.